What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, home safe and sound from Paris. Obviously, we were there last night, and what a crazy game. Jesus, man. 5-3 to PSG at the Parc des Princes. And look, there's a lot to get into in this game. There's a lot to talk about. But I think initially, first and foremost, I thought it was a great trip, to be honest. I had a brilliant time out in Paris.
First time what Spurs have played PSG? Is it the first time in their history?
No, we played in the Super Cup, didn't we?
Oh yeah, Super Cup. I mean, in Paris. I mean.
Yeah, I think so, because we've played pre-season games before, but never competitively. I don't think. Maybe we have. Maybe in the 60s or the 70s we did, but not like in recent history.
Yeah, for a lot of these Spurs fans, their first time in Paris to go watch Spurs.
Yeah, so that's what a lot of people were saying. There was not one Spurs fan I spoke to that had been to the stadium to see Spurs before.
Yogi Bear says, Ben and Sim back from their honeymoon trip. It's a city of love. Did you get your heart broken? We were saying before the game, were you ready for it?
No, well, I got my...
fall in love?
I got
one of those padlocks with initials on it, Tom TF and BD.
Yeah, so I did get my heart broken in the sense that we just every time it looked like we were back in the game. PSG went up the other end and scored straight away, but I was delighted with the way the team conducted themselves. We were saying on the preview before, it's more what we see on the pitch in terms of fight, desire, a team structure, being able to create some chances. And I think it ticked all those boxes, the game yesterday.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about going into this game. Obviously, we were saying all these things. We want to show fight, like the game of the Emirates. It wasn't just about the lack of willingness to go forward, which was obviously a massive issue within itself. But the main thing is it's a derby and no one's putting in challenges. We're not pressing them. We're not looking to get near them. And that was definitely, from minute one, you saw that. Even though for the first half an hour, it's not like we created any chances or even, got close to. But you could definitely just see there was a difference in intent. We were going after PSG, we were being brave, we were going forward, and we were looking to put them under pressure. We're asking questions of them, and just from that you could see the difference from even the Chelsea game and the Arsenal game, and that was obviously the most pleasant thing, the best thing from the performance. And obviously, he did change it up quite dramatically, didn't he? From the previous formations, obviously from the Super Cup as well, back three. Arsenal, he played a back three. He went for a formation we hadn't seen before, kind of like a 4-4-2 diamond, or kind of people are saying it's a 4-2-2 kind of formation. So he clearly was kind of focusing very centrally in this game, not trying to, didn't play with any wingers, didn't play with any wide players really, just two strikers, four basically centre midfielders. Maybe trying to combat PSG with how they build up and they get their fullbacks involved, inverted. They have those three technical centre midfielders. So I think it was a smart strategy, not one that I saw coming. But I think the most surprising thing was no Paulinho, Bergval, Gray, Sarr, all in the middle as well. And obviously a front two of Moani and Richarlison. But trusting those three young players to patrol the midfield in a big away game like PSG away against one of the best teams, not the best team in Europe. That was a big call on the day, and a call that a lot of people wouldn't have said would happen before the game. And so was it was this his Pochettino moment where he just put everything, he said, look, I'm going to change it up. I'm putting in the young players. We're going for a fresher approach. I'm going to get these players who may be going to do what I say. But then again, it's Paulinho's one he dropped. You can't exactly say he's one of the ones who been letting the team down.
The thing is, I don't think, because obviously we were talking before the game about Poch's moment about bringing in Bentaleb and Mason and all the young guys, and obviously he reaped the benefits for it, and it provided a much more energetic performance. Pressing was there, and I think in that sense it was there, for everyone to see. I think it was a bit of a coming of age performance from Archie Gray last night. Seriously, to throw Archie Gray in the deep end like that away at PSG in a Champions League game, and for him to thrive as much as he thrived, I think that is massive for us. It really is, because now, after throwing him in a game like that and performing like that, you can't worry about putting him in for any game now. And he's got to be in serious contention to be one of the first names in that midfield. after that performance. And Bergwijn, I think both of them.
And I think it'll just do his confidence the world of good in terms of like, I've gone to PSG, I've performed like that. Like, there's no game now that should fear him. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Every opponent, he'll be like, I just went to PSG and I played well. So I think that's definitely been an element. I wouldn't say necessarily this season, but since he's come to the club, when he has played in midfield, I think definitely I would say an element back end of last season when he was playing a few games central midfield. There's been a bit of a fear factor for him. He hasn't played his natural game. We haven't seen him, do those carries forward and go into space and be confident. He's played a bit too safe. But yesterday, obviously, we saw how well he did for the build-up for the first goal. And I thought he was, obviously, he was involved in the second goal as well with the brilliant flick. And I think he had a phenomenal game. And, yeah, that'll do him the world of good. And, obviously, Bergwijn, we know, is a confident guy.
Yeah.
We've seen that from the first minute. So I think those two, to put them in against PSG, in a game where you would expect you're going to need your experienced players. And, look, maybe there's a part of us that still needed it, 'cause at the end of the day, we did still lose. But I think the fact that they played so well, I think in the long term, is going to do them both the absolute world of good.
Yeah, you know what? Like, when you're looking at Archie and Lucas's performance, like, I don't think, particularly Archie Gray, I don't think he put a foot wrong throughout I was so impressed with what I saw. And the lovely link-up play between the two as well was just absolutely brilliant to see. For these teenagers or young players to do it on the stage like that, I'm just so, it makes you excited about what's going to come over the next couple of games, in my opinion.
But in terms of Thomas Frank, apart from it being his, like, quote-unquote Poch moment, it was very, like, brave kind of decision to change the lineup, like, you go for a different kind of formation. And it was something that no one really expected. And to get you can see it was definitely a performance of bravery, not just from the team itself, but also from the manager to kind of do that.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the most encouraging thing from yesterday. And there's just the gutting thing is, I think at the end of the day, it's unfortunate that we just did come up against the best team in Europe, because as much as it was mistakes that did let us down, you've got to say their quality as well. Vitinha, just 2 unbelievable goals. Like, there's not much you can do about them. They were just, unfortunately, as good as we were at points, they were just a level above, and that was the unfortunate thing yesterday.
Yeah, look,
which probably meant that we ended up on the losing side.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not worried about finishing on the losing side. I still think we're in a brilliant position in the Champions League. We're only 2 points behind the top 8, and we got Slav, and we got some games where you're thinking Spurs should pick up some points over the next 3 games. So I think there's a genuine chance of Spurs finishing in the top 8 right now. So
I think we're going to need 3 out of 3 wins.
Yeah, potentially. But I don't think that's beyond us. I think we can do that. Dortmund at home, look, will be a difficult game, but I think it's a winnable game. I think Frankfurt away, we've shown we can beat Frankfurt. It's a winnable game, and Prague should be 3 points as well. So if we do go, it's not impossible, is what I'm saying, that we can finish in the top 8, which will be fantastic for Tottenham Hotspur. But last night was much more about performance, effort, and desire, and to see Thomas Frank being able, to mix it with one of the best managers and best teams in world football at this moment in time, and to show that he can adapt and change things and come up with a plan that can really hurt the opposition. I mean, look at these stats from the game last night. It's like worlds apart from what we've seen in recent weeks. Expected goals, PSG had 1.85, Spurs had 1.79 and they had a penalty in that as well. So, I mean, you take that penalty out of it, we're out XGing PSG at the Parc de France. I mean, that is super impressive.
Yeah, and obviously that comes from the big chance we created with the Richarlison's goal close range, the corner, Moani as well. But it's very difficult to do that. PSG are known for creating lots of chances. So the fact that we went there, and in terms of the amount of good quality chances we created, went toe to toe with them.
Yeah.
No one would have expected that after what happened against Arsenal, where we barely got into their half. So that was really, really encouraging. Yeah,
and 11 shots, 5 on target, 3 big chances created, which equals PSG's 3 big chances created on the day. And you're taking on the Champions League champions at their own patch. Very strong team. So I was delighted at the end of the game, to be honest, to see how we handled it all, because everything, like I said, everything that I wanted to see going into this game, I pretty much saw it. The problem for me was just individual errors. If it wasn't for those individual errors, it's a very realistic chance that we take the 3 points in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, the circumstances of yesterday were just very frustrating in the sense that we did play from large parts. We played really well and better than most can expect. But we go 1-0 up. Well, we are 30 seconds from half time, and we concede that goal.
Yeah.
Right on the edge of half time. So that's really frustrating. If we would have gone into half time 1-0, that would have been a massive boost.
You got to see it's an absolute worldie, though, isn't it? Like,
I'm not saying it's our fault, just frustrating that.
Yeah,
happens,
of course.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like we're 30 seconds away, and you know we just can't hold it out. Again, just after half time, just after being paid back, great mentality to go up the other end and get back in the lead and go 2-1 ahead. You go, wow, we haven't let the setback affect us. Within a minute again, 2-2.
Yeah.
And then the problem, I guess the frustrating thing is after that, it kind of unraveled quite quickly. After 10 minutes, it was already 4-2 after a couple of really bad mistakes. Romero, Sarr, getting in all sorts of mix-ups. I was looking at the goal. First of all, I got a bone to pick with Bentancur for the second goal. He kind of turns his back when Vitinha's shooting. You've got to be braver there.
Yeah.
You've got to put your head where it hurts. That's what you get your paid money to do. When Vitinha just scored a worldie, you know he's got an unbelievable shot on him. When he's lining up for it, you charge out at him and you put your head where it hurts. And he's also the senior player in the team. You can't turn your back. He did, and it ultimately cost us. But give credit to Vitinha, it's a great goal. The third goal, I have to say, I know Romero is going to get blamed, and rightly so, because that pass to Sarr, putting him under pressure where he had two men on him, was suicide. But I did pause it when Romero had the ball, and he just didn't have any options. I guess you could argue, probably should have done just safety first, hit it long. It's not like we've been scared to hit it long this season, is it? So that's probably what you should have done.
you got two men up there as well.
You got two men, and to be fair, I think the dynamic with Moani and Richarlison, I think it definitely helped Richarlison having Moani there.
Oh, massively.
It's just so someone who can play off. When he was holding the ball up, he actually had someone near him that we could sustain attack. And Moani as well, definitely it helped him having a striker near him, so he can make those runs, and he looked a lot more dangerous as well. So I think it helped them. And yeah, I agree. Romero probably should have done that. But as well, I think the goal, from a bad mistake, but it stems from a lack of options Romero had, because he was trying to be brave. He's trying to play out the back. It was a mistake from him, no excuses. But as well, I think we have to look into why he had such a lack of options playing out the back. The fourth goal, it's such a poorly defended corner. We had three men around the ball, and they all just get mixed up with each other. Sarr, I don't know what he's doing. He just takes a bad touch, tries to dribble his way out of trouble in the box. All of a sudden,
but what a brain dead moment though! Like, try and dribble your way out in the box when you're surrounded by PSG players. Just makes no sense.
And asking for trouble, and all of a sudden, within a blink of an eye, it's you're 2-1 up, and 10 minutes later you're 4-2 down. So how we let the game get away from us so quickly, like that was a bit frustrating. To the team's credit, still didn't give up, kept going, got the goal. Moani, nicely taken goal. But again, I was literally watching, saying to you in the crowd, in the game, we got the goal. Paulinho and Kudus were just warming up. They were ready to come on, and I said, let's just not concede before they come on. And all of a sudden, we're fourth, already got a couple of subs coming on, fresh energy into the team. If we can not concede before they come on, we've got a real chance of getting back into this. What happens? Literally, as they're stripped off and ready to come on, we concede a penalty. Yeah. So frustrating. And that was also within a couple of minutes of scoring. So the frustrating thing is, every time we did score, we got pegged back very quickly. It kind of seemed like whenever PSG wanted to turn it on, they could. And that's maybe kind of how good the team they are. But credit to the team for not giving up. Not unlike Sunday, we didn't meekly go to defeat and give up. We gave up before a ball was kicked on Sunday against Arsenal. We kept going. We didn't ever believe we were beaten. And we nearly got something out of the game. But unfortunately, you have to say, like, as much as well we did, I think PSG were always look. Whenever they needed to, they stepped up, didn't they? Whenever they fell behind, whenever they needed to grab a goal, show a bit of quality, they did. And even the third goal was a bad mistake, but that Neves back flick to put Ruiz for on goal was incredible for him to score. It's like he has got eyes on the back of his head.
Yeah, they're a team full of world class talent. That's what they are. This is PSG we're talking about. So. Yeah, look, I was delighted. It's very frustrating. Look, I'm not sitting here saying it's the most perfect performance, and I'm like over the moon with it. I'm just really happy. I'm just happy with what the team showed, and I think that sign of life. Sign of life under this manager, sign of life with this team. It's a team that was fighting tooth and nail for the result. But the reality is it means nothing if you don't go and back it up on the weekend against Fulham, because this game we were the underdog. We were, asked to deal with a lot of pressure situations in this game. Against Fulham, we're going to be the favourites. It's going to be at home. It's where we've had large criticisms this season, poor performances consistently. We're going to be asked to have the ball and go and attack the opposition. So it needs to be backed up this weekend.
Yeah, I think definitely when you're going away at PSG and when we're all expecting a heavy defeat or a performance, similar to the Arsenal game, potentially a result. The fact that we turned up in the way we did, the bravery that we did with the team out there, the fact that we had a team, a very young team, and they were very brave. They were not scared to press. They were not scared to go forward. That's a massive positive. The fact that Mawani has now got his first 2 goals for the club, that's a massive positive as well, because the longer that goal drought goes on, it's going to play on his mind, isn't it? So the fact that very quickly after fracturing his jaw, he's come back and he's already got his first couple of goals. He got a brace on the night. And that was made also, this was his first real performance where you're saying, okay, we potentially do have a very good striker here. He's finally showing it. He's did well in front of goal, and his all-round game was as good as it has been as well in other games. So that was obviously really good. I thought Spence was a lot better as well. I thought going forward, he was a lot better.
I thought his delivery was pretty poor actually, Spence, but he was getting in the right positions.
Yeah, I thought he was looking a lot more threatening going forward. He was willing to take people on. He was willing to go on the outside a lot more in this game than he has done in previous games. So that was really good. And the fact that we were able to play Sarr, Bergvall and Gray against midfielder PSG and how they were able to compete in such a way must give Frank confidence that we should never be seeing that Paolini and Bentancur pivot for the foreseeable future. At the very least, for the next few games, give Bergvall, Gray and Sarr a run and give them some game time from the start. Yeah. That's what we should. I'm not saying he can never play it ever again. I'm just saying right now.
I'm saying he can never play it ever
again.
Yeah,
a lot of people are saying it. I'm just saying right now they need a run of games. Those guys, we need to integrate.
If you can go to PSG without playing Bentancur and Paolini, then there is no reason to play them together.
I mean, that is true, but at the end of the day, we did concede 5 goals.
Yeah, it's true, but I don't think it's because we didn't have Bentancur and Paolini. We conceded 5 goals. I mean, let's be real. It's not like PSG were peppering our goal and Vicario had to make save after save. We conceded 4 goals. I think he made 1 save in the game. PSG didn't batter us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we look at the end of the day. We did kind of keep them arm's length when it comes to the amount of times they're opening us up. It was really just 2 special goals from Matinia, and then 3 mistakes. You got to say.
Exactly. So. For me, it was down to individual errors why we lost that game, pure and simple. I don't think it was any personnel choice, any tactical choice or anything like that. It was purely down to individual error. So that's something that you can work on. That's something that you can see some green shoots in, and you can have a bit of belief in moving forward.
Yeah, the disappointing thing is the player you probably don't expect to let us down.
Yeah, let us down.
That's Romero. He just wasn't. Especially in the second half, I thought first half he was brilliant and he was having a great game. And then second half, the third goal, terrible decision to pass it in that place. And then the handball, I understand it. He's trying to block the shot, but at the end of the day, he had his arm so high up. There's no real defence of it. If it hits his arm in that position, it's always going to be a penalty.
Yeah, look, it was a bit harsh, in my opinion, but is what it is.
The thing is. It's harsh, but that's a penalty where even if it's not given, VAR are giving it. That's like a stone wall. That's the reality in this day and age. Where your arm's that high and it hits it, it's going to be a penalty. There's nothing. There's no.
It very much could have been going in that shot as well.
As well. Exactly. You're blocking potentially a goal-bound shot. So if it was your arm was a bit by side and out, I can kind of, maybe that would be I can understand people having complaints. His arm was literally up there like that above his head.
Yeah,
not much you can really complain.
It's just harsh because at that moment, Romero's kind of lunging in or jumping in, and his arm just waves up. I mean, it's just hard because I'm not sure what more Romero could have done at that stage because I feel like that's just a natural thing to do.
Yeah, I get it. But it is what it is. But the only thing I would say in terms of a bit critical of Frank yesterday is I did feel.
Here we go.
I did feel, well, it wasn't perfect. We lost, but we lost 5-3. It's not like we can't be critical of anything. I did feel we should have made changes a bit earlier because I was saying
I totally agree. I
was saying to you we were starting to tire.
Yeah.
And you can see, because we put a lot of energy in that first hour.
Yeah.
And credit to the team, we were all over them, but we were starting to wane quite early on. And I think Frank kind of let the game get away from us before he made the changes.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Could have been a bit.
I do agree with that because I think our first changes was like in the 75th minute or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely could have made changes.
Especially with the energy we were putting into the game,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely could have made changes maybe 15, 20 minutes earlier even, like definitely. Completely agree with that. So, but I guess like the main takeaway is that there's something to go on here. He's found a system that worked really well. Is he going to carry on and persist with this system in the game against Fulham?
That's the thing. It's a good question because was this in terms of the 4-4-2 diamond, is that a formation that he picked for this game essentially, or is that like a kind of way of playing he's going to use regularly going forward? Like, but would we want to see that against Fulham? Like in terms of that formation, like 4 centre midfielders. Like, what does that mean if we are going to start playing that formation regularly? What does that mean for likes of Odebear and Kudus and
I think Kudus could play in this formation though. Kudus could play. I think a number of the roles. I think he could play. If you're saying the 4-2-2-2, he can play in the 2 behind the 2 strikers, or he can play one of the striker roles. Probably more likely one of the striker roles in this system, Kudus. So, yeah, it's more of a worry for Odebear. I think anyone else that we've got, though, can play in this formation. I'm not sure about Odebear, though. Yeah. I think Brennan Johnson can. I think Kudus can. I think Tell can. Yeah, it's just Wilson Odebear. And I think, like, Odebear still came on in this game. I can't remember where he actually played when he came on. Where did he go?
He came on the left wing. We changed formation.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, even if we do persist with this formation, it doesn't mean that he's never going to play with wingers and stuff like that, and he's definitely going to be valuable in games.
Oh, Xavi as well, but obviously, yeah, we didn't. But he obviously came on, but he can play in one of the 3 in the diamond anyway.
Yeah,
yeah, I do. But yeah, I do wonder if he will persist with it.
I'd like to see him carry on with it. Just because it was such a positive performance.
I think the funny thing is, it's like the complete opposite of in terms of how he's trying to get us playing from beforehand. Because beforehand he was pretty much solely focused on getting us progressing the ball out wide and through the wide areas. And with this way of playing, it's like you're much more focused in progressing the ball centrally, and it gave us a bit more control at times.
Yeah, but I think that's the right way to go because I think our central players are of higher quality than our wide players in general. So, and you're more likely to keep the ball, in my opinion, when you've got the likes of ball players like Archie Gray, like Lucas Bergvall, Ben Tancourt, like all these players all together. They're strong as well, so I think it's the right way to go. I really do. Like, we've basically been non-existent of progressing through the centre, like you've mentioned, all season. This was a breath of fresh air, man.
Yeah, completely. And I definitely liked it. There's one other element. Apparently, it was the first time we've conceded 4 or more goals in consecutive games since Glenn Hoddle in May 2003.
Wow. Is that when we lost 4-0, 4-0? Didn't we lose 4-0 3 times in a row?
We lost
to
5-1
Chelsea.
to Borough. No, we lost 5-1 to Borough and then 4-0 on the last day of the season to Blackburn.
Well, when was that when we lost like 4-0 to Chelsea twice in a week?
Yeah, that also might have been Hoddle. I think that was like a couple of years before or a year before that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not great. 9 goals this week. It's not great, but...
And it's funny, we're referencing the Pochettino moment. Poch had his moment winning a game 5-3. Frank potentially had his moment losing a game 5-3.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's I don't know if this is a Poch moment or anything. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. We'd have to see how it all progresses from here, but definitely steps in the right direction. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I wonder if looking back, will we look at this game as like a turning point for him, as like where something clicked for him and the team, or we'll see. I guess we'll see, because at the end of the day, as much as I was happy and excited about what I saw, again, we are playing a team like PSG, who, when you look at how Frank sets us up, these are the kind of games in theory, he potentially could suit him. I'm not saying playing at PSG with the quality they have is an easy thing. I'm just saying they're a team that's going to leave space. They're a team that's going to attack you, right? And those aren't what's really been the big question marks in Frank's tenure so far. The question mark is when we are going to play someone like Fulham, who do a mid-block, lower block, and they ask you to open them up. It's going to be a very, very different game.
Yes, yes
Saturday.
and no. But like we've been saying, like we've just played Arsenal and Chelsea, who also leave space or left us space. We weren't able to exploit it.
Mm-hmm.
We're able to exploit it in this game against PSG. So, 100%. The next question about Fulham and about can we handle this kind of game and create chances when we're asked to dominate the ball and basically be the dominant force in the game and go and attack another team. Yeah, that's another question that he needs to answer on the weekend, and let's hope he does it. But yesterday was still a massive question in terms of even trying to exploit teams that leave us space, because we haven't been able to do so in recent weeks.
So when asked, so Frank has actually done his press conference today ahead of the Fulham game. He was asked whether the PSG setup was specific for the game. He says, I think it was, let's say, the grammar. He's saying, I think it was, let's say, the general identity of the team. I liked a lot of the intensity and aggression in the pressure, the forwardness, running and playing forward. We played 4 midfielders across the midfield 4. That could be for some games. It could be for some games. Everything is possible, but it depends on the opponent, the type of game, and we need different types. Being pragmatic is not to have the same principles and all the facets, but choose different types for different games.
Which is what you kind of expect from Thomas Frank being our manager, to create and devise different game plans for different teams. But that intense, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the intensity and aggression and the fight that the team showed, because we could have played that same system, and if they would have shown the same fight that they did against Arsenal and Chelsea, 2 very different systems on those 2 days, you're not going to get anything out of the game. So the players stepped up yesterday. So the players need to continue to step it up. So it's got to be a collaborative effort. It's not just about system.
I understand that, but from that answer, do you think the 4 midfielders, is that something we'll see on? Do you think we'll see it?
It doesn't sound like it, but it's always a possibility. I'm not sure, to be honest. I would like to see it, like I said, but I'm not sure. What do you think? Do you think we'll see it?
I think he's going to bring the wingers back in, to be honest.
I don't mind, because even if we do bring the wingers back in and we go through back to the same system, but the players show that intensity that they showed yesterday, then it'll look a lot better.
That's the main thing. I don't think it has to be that system for players to be braver with their pressing, be braver with their passing, be braver with their running, where they're running to, positions they're taking up. They weren't scared to press high. They weren't scared to get in the faces of the PSG players. And that was the main thing. After what was... The annoying thing is, why wasn't it there against Arsenal? We'll never know, I guess.
But it's been so many games. something must be going on, because it's been so many games where it's just been completely off.
And I guess also you got to say, was there a case of we potentially looked better without Palhinha? Is there something to that? Because obviously he didn't start yesterday.
Or Kudus
as well. And those are 2 players that everyone's been praising this season being our best players. And we put in, a pretty good performance.
I just don't get it. I just don't understand why we showed so much intensity yesterday and we haven't done for a while now. It just doesn't make sense to me. Did the players step it up because they knew they were going into a game like... I mean, if that's the case, then why didn't they do it against Arsenal? So it's just beggars belief. What sort of explanation can we give for that?
Yeah, I don't know. And also, I think we also have to be very careful when talking about this game and the performances, because as much as I was happy with how we played, we've got to be careful of overpraising, because at the end of the day, if we don't build on this, right, and we don't build some sort of momentum or take that intensity into the following games, at the end of the day, it's just going to go down as another loss.
Yeah.
That's reality. So we have to take that side of intensity and what we were seeing in this game, and we have to bring it into the Fulham game. And we have to make sure that we're on top of it intensely, physically, and we have to make sure we're there as well. Because otherwise, if we don't win that game, we're going to look back and it's just going to be another 5-3. It's just going to be a 5-3 defeat. No one's going to say, "Oh yeah, but we played well." It won't matter.
100%. So it's all on the weekend. And if we do see a very positive performance against Fulham, with the high pressing, intense pressing, and fight, and just players completely fighting for the badge and the team and the manager, then I think we can start to look at the future a bit more positively under Thomas Frank. Albeit it'll only be 2 games in a row, and you need to build on that. But it's been just such a far cry than what we've seen for quite a while now.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, we need to build some sort of momentum, because it was going downhill very quickly, and kind of hit a crescendo in the North London derby where everyone's like, okay, maybe this really isn't working out. And there were signs of life. Whatever you want to say about it, if you're being ultra critical, we did make a lot of mistakes. We did concede 5 goals, and we did let the lead slip 3 times, and all that. And the game did unravel very quickly in the second half. Those things are all true. But if you watch the full 90 minutes, if you're watching a game and you just saw how the players were behaving, how they were running, how they were being brave, like going to the best team in Europe and with a young team and playing like that, and blooding their noses a bit, and showing you can at times go toe to toe with them, that's more. Can't really ask for much more than that before the game.
Yeah, it's also like we've all been criticising Frank's tactics a lot over the last couple of weeks, right? Particularly in the Chelsea game and the Arsenal game and different formations. He's trying to find solutions, and he's said quite often, he didn't want his team to play like that. So now we've seen that performance at PSG, and we've seen how intense these players can be, against Man City and, against PSG in the first time round as well. How much criticism do you put on the players for the last few weeks? Because after the Arsenal game, we were saying this is all down on Frank. This is not down on the players. It's the tactical setup, where maybe if they showed a bit more intensity and they showed a bit more fight and they wanted it, then maybe it could have been a bit different.
Yeah, 100%. Look, we'll never know why exactly the North London derby performance was what it was. There was, you could argue the tactics we employed in terms of how deep we were. Did it lead to us being so standoffish? It was harder to actually get near the players. But there was times, as I've pointed out before, like that first goal, we had 4 players around Timber, we didn't put in a challenge. That kind of set the tone for the whole game. Now, we should absolutely be critical of the players when they're not being strong in their challenges and they're not, showing any sort of intensity. 100% you should be critical. The problem was from the Arsenal game, it wasn't the first time. So, when it's happening consistently, at some point, you have to start questioning, why is that not happening? Why can't the manager get out of them? Now, we saw it yesterday, and I think it's important, even though we lost, we have to be consistent with our criticism and not just be result-based in terms of our analysis. And we can all say the 4-1 defeat and the 1-0 defeat to Chelsea and Arsenal were awful performances and deserved losses, and we could be angry with the losses and angry with the performance. But on this occasion, you've got to acknowledge there's definitely a team there out there fighting. There was definitely a team out there with the principles that we want to see from a Tottenham team. Bravery and going and having a bit of gusto. Whilst also at times, especially in that first half, we were still defensively solid and we weren't giving up too many chances. Unfortunately, that went out the window a bit in the second half, but the first half we were definitely there. So there's definitely a lot of positives and definitely a lot of stuff to build on from that game. The problem with the Arsenal game was there was nothing to build off in terms of, okay, it's like, oh, you can't really say like, oh, if we correct this, then maybe there's something, or correct that. It's like everything was just so bad and wrong. This game, there was a lot you could take from it in terms of what a Thomas Frank team could look like. And that was a positive.
I think it just shows, right, at full-time whistle at the Emirates, there were no Spurs fans left. At full-time whistle yesterday in Paris, the players got applauded off the pitch from the Spurs fans. And I think that says it all. You lose 5-3, but you're still getting applauded off the pitch. I think that just shows the work rate and the effort that the players put in. We can take a loss. We can take losing to a very good side like PSG, like Arsenal, like Chelsea. If you don't put in the effort and the desire for the badge, you're going to get, pelters, and it's going to be deserved so. But if you put in that kind of effort, then you're going to get rewarded for it in terms of the praise that you're going to get. And let's just hope, like we keep saying, it's got to be built on now.
But I would say praise for defeats will only obviously go so far if the defeats keep happening. We're now obviously 3 wins in 12, I think, after yesterday. So The form has been, going in one direction. It is, at the end of the day, as how harsh it is, it is another L, it is another defeat, and that's the reality of the situation. However happy or surprised or pleased with what you saw performance-wise, it was another defeat yesterday. So we need to start getting wins back on the board.
Yeah,
that's the reality.
100%. But regardless, like we keep saying, step in the right direction. We see what happens from here now. Fulham at home and Newcastle away in the next week. So, very difficult games coming. But that is your match review. We're going to move on and we're going to go to player ratings. Let's just get this up. Here we go, player stats. All right. And let's start off with Guillermo Vicario. So I give Vicario a 5. I think, obviously, he's conceded 5 goals. I think, I don't think he had a chance with I don't think I put him at fault for any of them, to be honest. I think a lot of them were just unbelievable strikes. Apart from that, though, he was pretty much untested. He made 1 save during the game, and that was about it. It was pretty. It's weird to say it, because he's conceded 5 goals, but it was like a quiet day for him.
Yeah, it's strange to put it that way, but as you say, he only had 1 save. I believe it was in the first half where I think Vitinha clipped a lovely ball into the box, and I think it was it Zaire Emery running onto it, and he didn't. It wasn't even a shot. I think he was trying to control it, but he needed kind of controlled it into the goal, and Vicario stopped it. So I guess it does count as a shot. Oh no, he made another one from Lee Kang-in late in the game, didn't he? A long range shot.
Yeah,
so it must have been that.
Yeah.
That's really that's all. I guess if you're being hypercritical, a lot of the times if you're conceding more than a goal in a game from outside the box, your eyes are going to be looked at you. But I agree. The one when the first one was in off the underside of the bar, not much you can do there. The second one, there's a lot of bodies in between him and a goal, and it went right in the corner as well. So not much you can really say about that. I would say maybe if you're being hypercritical, the third one doesn't go exactly in the corner, but it is a one-on-one, and it had a lot of power from Fabian Ruiz, so you can't really criticise him too much. I just guess 5 is because I know he can't really say he's at fault for any of the goals, but when there's 6 shots on target and you concede 5, it's just not a great look.
Yeah.
So that's it, really. You can't really rate him up if he's not making the saves.
Yeah, exactly. So 5 for Guillermo Vicario. Next up is Pedro Porro. I gave him a 5 as well. What did you give Vicario, by the way?
I gave him a 5.
Oh, you gave him 5. And Porro?
6, yeah.
Yeah,
6.
I gave him a 5. I think there were positive things in there from Pedro Porro. I think his delivery was brilliant, particularly from the set pieces. I think fantastic from Pedro Porro, and a welcome return to the starting lineup for him. But I thought, from a defensive standpoint, I thought he struggled at times, particularly because Kavica actually had to move side because he was getting so frustrated being on Jed's side. And when he went onto Porro's side, he did get a bit more joy, and you saw him have a bit more influence in the game. So I felt like defensively, he got caught out a couple of times. But yeah, his set piece is what really kind of stood out for me.
Yeah, I thought he was all right. I think a bit wasteful on occasion, going with the ball at his feet, going long to no one. But I think in general, I was pretty happy with him. I thought defensively was pretty solid when he had the support with him. And as you say, the set piece delivery was good as well. So yeah, I gave him a 6. Nothing too great, but nothing too bad either.
Mickey van der Ven up next. I gave him a 6. I gave Mickey van der Ven a 6. You?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't think it was, a great performance.
I gave him a 5, actually.
A 5. I don't think it was a great performance at any stretch of the imagination. I felt like you could see him getting under pressure in that moment when PSG scored a few goals. And the second half, it wasn't that good from Mickey. But in the first half, I thought he looked a lot more comfortable, maybe being in a bit of a higher line, be a bit more aggressive, be a bit more on the front foot. So with Mickey, I thought, decent first half and then kind of waned a bit in the second.
Yeah, he got done in one moment in the first half, didn't he? He came sliding in. I think the little teenager, what was his name? The striker, don't know his name, but he started up front. He kind of done him a bit in the first half. But I thought in general was okay. But I think his box defending wasn't as good as it has been in some of the other games this season. Definitely, I thought on the ball he looked actually really good in this one. His passing was really good, but I think for the goals that we conceded, especially from outside the box, could he have done a bit more? Could he get closer to some of the other players, some of the Vitinha essentially, potentially, yeah.
Cuti Romero, 3 from me.
Yeah, 3.
3 from Sim, captain on the day, and it wasn't really captain's performance, unfortunately, because in these games it's so important to have your leaders on point, and if they're not, and they start making errors like they do, it costs you the game, and it definitely cost Romero's errors cost us the game yesterday. I think 2 of the goals he should have done a hell of a lot better for. Look, he was defending well at times in the first half, but as our or any player on the team, but particularly the captain, you cannot be making these errors in such a game like this.
No, and especially when your team have worked so hard to get a foothold in the game, and it's just so careless from him. And it's not the first time he's done something like that, like we've seen. Obviously, we know when he's on top of his game. Though he's not as rash and he's much more clear thinking. But yesterday, a couple of those moments really let us down, and to have from your captain is really frustrating. It's really poor from him, and he's the one obviously supposed to be setting the example. So, first half I thought he's having a great game, and then he just let it all slip. Like Tottenham, kind of unravelled with his mistakes, and that was very, very frustrating from my point of view.
Jed Spence at left back, I'm giving him a 6.
I gave him a 7.
7. Yeah, look, Jed was probably the best out of the back line, in my opinion. The way he was getting forward, attacking the space with intensity. I thought his delivery once he got there was pretty poor, to be honest, but the intent was definitely there from Jed Spence, and you didn't see him consistently check back onto his better foot, which was pleasing for me to see at left back, because that's one of our main criticisms we've had with Jed since performing at left back this season. So that was good, and I think he forced the manager Enrique into a tactical switch in terms of getting Kavisha to go and get on Porras' side, because Kavisha was getting no joy out of Jed Spence, and I thought he locked him down. Yeah,
and he had obviously a great game in the Super Cup, and he continued it, I thought, in general yesterday. I thought his willingness to kind of run on the outside and exploit space being left by PSG was much better than we've seen in a lot of games when he played left back this season, where he just seems hesitant or scared to go and attack his man and go on the outside. It wasn't just him cutting inside all the time. Not to say he necessarily had a willingness to use his left foot, but a bit like how a doggy gets to the byline and cuts back, he was looking to get to that byline and cut in from there rather than cut in from earlier where he had to do an in-swing cross. So I definitely think I liked seeing a lot more of that from Jed Spence. Was also involved in the first goal with a nice ball to Bergvall, and I think he was much more his progression was a lot better in this one as well.
Next up is Rodrigo Bentancur. I gave him a 6.
I gave him an 8.
An 8.
I thought it was really good.
Look, I thought Bentancur was he'd put in a good performance. There was a couple of things. Well, first of all, the ones that you mentioned in the match review, like you just can't turn your back to a shot like that against no opposition. Never mind a player like Vitinha. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a bit cowardly from Bentancur in that situation. There was also a couple of situations where I thought he was that kind of senior player in the midfield trying to shield the back four, and I thought we just let them have a bit too much space on the edge of the area, and I thought Bentancur should have done a bit better in those situations. However, I thought he was very combative in the middle of the park. He got the ball forward pretty well. The pressing to win the ball back for the goal that we scored as well, I thought was for Mawani's goal, I thought was fantastic. It was Bentancur's best display for a number of weeks, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I thought he looked a lot more energetic. And I understand I was frustrated with the second goal when he turned his back, and that's really inexcusable for us, especially when you're the senior player in the midfield. You can't be doing that. You got to put your head in where it hurts, and that's just what you get paid for, essentially. But I think in general, really strong performance. I thought he commanded physically at midfield a lot better than he has been. He was covering a lot of ground, making a lot of tackles. Obviously, got the I think he tackled Vitinha for our third goal. Yeah. So that was really good as well. So the
And you know what? Not
good.
many people can tackle Vitinha, by the way.
Although I have to say, Vitinha did take a bit of a loose touch. But look, you got to exploit it, and he did. I thought it was a really strong showing from Bentancur in general. I liked a lot from what I saw from him.
All right, next up is Pape Matar Sarr. I gave him a 5.
I gave him... Oh, I didn't rate him, but I gave him a 5, yeah.
5, yeah. Look, I actually thought Pape in the first half was brilliant. Back to the kind of old Pape that we know and love, like pressing really intensely, winning the ball back on a number of occasions for us. Just, that old cliche with Pape Matar Sarr covering every blade of grass. That's what he was doing in the first half. I was delighted with him at half time. But, he was one of the culprits that let PSG back in the game and essentially gave the game to PSG with mistakes from him and Kuti.
Yeah, and some people in the comments are saying that Romero passed him the ball as much as that a mistake is because Sarr was calling for it. Apparently he had his arm out calling for it. So he has to take a bit of responsibility there. If that is, I have to watch it back. If he was calling for it, you don't do that if you've got 2 men on you and you're at risk of losing the ball. And obviously it did cost us. And he was quite weak in that, I could see what he was trying to do. I think he was trying to pass it off to Porro, but there was another PSG to his left, a player to his left. If he would have passed it to his right, there's Bentancur right there next to him quickly. So bad mistake, whatever way you look at it. The fourth goal as well, I also think lack of awareness, just trying to dribble his way out of trouble. And when he went to clear it, that was too late. Paco was already there and obviously got the goal. So very frustrating. I did think he was definitely the weakest of the midfield for sure.
All right, next up, we are going to look at Mr. Archie Gray. Archie Gray, for me, a coming-of-age performance from Archie Gray last night. I'm giving him an 8.
Yeah, I gave him a 7. I thought he played really well, but and obviously his role in the first goal was brilliant.
Yeah.
Not only the clever run, the nice touch and a beautiful dink on his weaker foot, wasn't it, to Moani at that back post. So that was really good. In general, just a really strong showing against one of the strongest midfields you can ever come across.
I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was comfortable on the ball. He was driving the team forward. He was showing quality. He looked completely at home on that pitch. Seriously, that Archie Gray performance blew me away a little bit, and I feel like that's probably his best performance in the Spurs shirt when you take into account the opposition as well. He's really made he's staking a claim for a consistent starting spot in this team. I think every time he's started this season or every time he's played this season, he's done himself a lot of favour and getting himself a lot of goodwill with the fan base now. So I think he's got to be starting. He's got to be starting with those kind of performances.
I agree. The only reason I maybe gave him a 7 is I did think in the second half he started to wane a bit.
He did tire,
and obviously got taken off on 76. But look, I think in general, for the most part, fantastic. And yeah, I want to see him play in midfield more. And I think he was also a bit more box to box and just sitting as well yesterday. So I really like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, Lucas Bergvall, I gave him an 8 as well.
I also gave him a 7.
7. Yeah.
Similar reasons. I thought it was brilliant up until when he wasn't, I guess.
Yeah. I thought with Lucas, in that first half, he was like the hub of the team, wasn't he? I mean, those little kind of back flicks that he was doing with Archie Gray. I feel like...
the first goal.
Yeah, there was one for the first goal. There was another one in there as well, which, it was just incredible to do that again against the level of opposition what PSG are. I thought he was fantastic, Lucas Bergvall. Another welcome return to the starting lineup for him, and he did himself favours, and I feel like him and Archie Gray have got a nice little relationship on the pitch.
Yeah. So this is his first appearance
game, yeah.
since the concussion.
Yeah.
So yeah, great welcome return back to the lineup. I think this position definitely more suited him more than being just a standard number 10. I think it gave him a little bit more positional kind of freedom. He's kind of playing more off the left a lot of the time as well, off the ball, and I think he obviously did his defensive duties really well. But again, I know he had that breakout season last season, getting our Player of the Year, but to play with such confidence, he's still 19, not even 20 yet, is he? He's still 19. Having that confidence going away at PSG, doing backflips, pulling him off, just shows the star quality that he does have. This guy, we all know it, but it's just a timely reminder of what a serious talent he is, and brilliant showing. And hopefully this leads to more starts in the Premier League. So that's especially in midfield. I don't want to see him in number 10. Play him in midfield in the Premier League because we need to see him there. We haven't seen him there anywhere near enough this season.
Now, here's a question for you. If we're going to go back to a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, whatever it is, What is the three-man midfield you want to see now at Fulham?
I think Bentancur, Gray and Bergvall.
Bentancur, Gray and Bergvall. So no Javi.
Yeah, good point. Javi. What to do with Javi?
Because I'm thinking about it now, and I'm thinking Gray, Bergvall. It might.
Gray, Bergvall, Javi.
I know it's very open, but I think you're looking at Gray and Bergvall. They both got bite in the challenge. They both can cover so much ground.
But they also had Sarr and Bentancur.
That's also true. Yeah.
I think you probably still, if you're going to play a 3, you probably still need one of Bentancur.
You're saying Javi, Bergvall, Polinia, but I think Gray's got to start. Is it going to have to be one of Gray and Bergvall?
No. Look, I thought maybe not. Look, maybe not start Javi. Look, as much as it is, he's not doing it at the moment. You play Bentancur, Gray and Bentancur, Gray, Bergvall in a 3. Get Gray and Bergvall being box to box, and I would like to see that.
Fair enough. Maybe we can do a panel show about it in the next few days. But all right, let's talk about Richarlison. I gave Richarlison a 7.
I gave him an 8.
An 8. Look, he was very good, and it was an absolute far cry to what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, and more reminiscent, maybe not as good, but more reminiscent of what we saw in the early stage of the season from Richarlison. Definitely having Moani next to him helped him. Definitely having runners off him, apart from Moani, helped him as well. He was just able to hold the ball up a lot more successful. We haven't seen him do any hold-up play pretty much over the past couple of weeks, and this was completely different. Not only was he able to hold it up, but he had runners around him to feed off as well.
He wasn't isolated.
Yeah, so I think he showed that aggression, intensity. He got his goal as well. 3-3 now for Richarlison. Just a much, much better display.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought he had a really strong showing. I think definitely helped him having a strike partner next to him. Not surprised, last time he played PSG, he also had Kudus next to him, and he looked a lot better in that game as well. I just think he's the kind of player who needs support around him to really, I think, if you're going to play him up front in that kind of role, and you're going to be asking him to physically compete with centre-backs and lump the ball to him, for a lot of the games recently, it's literally been him up against 2 or maybe even 3 sometimes centre-backs, and he has definitely been struggling to retain possession. But this time, you're lumping up, he's one-on-one with one centre-back, and Wani's on another centre-back. It's a lot more of an even fight, and you saw yesterday, he actually won the stat, he won 5 of his 7 aerial duels yesterday. So that goes to show how much more effective he can be when he's not being bullied or outnumbered in the back line. And obviously, I thought not only his goal, good movement, obviously was there for the tap-in, the second goal from the corner as well, did very well to keep that corner in. And Gray obviously made the most of it with a brilliant flick. But brilliant from him to keep it from going out of play with a good header. And as you said, 3 goals in 3 games now. He's on form. You have to say that. It seems like every game
he's on form in terms of numbers. We can say
any striker who's got 3 and 3 is on form.
I agree, but his performances. If you just look at his performances and don't look at the numbers, you wouldn't say he's on form.
I agree. I understand that, but he's got 3 goals in 3 games.
Yeah.
So, he's got to be delighted with that. He's now, I think, level top goal scorer with Mickey van der Ven. So we've finally got a striker up there, which is nice. So, yeah, let's hope it continues. And, I would like to see. I'll be interested to see if he continues with a partnership with him and Wani together. And also, I'd like to see...
the dynamic.
Yeah, and I would like to see as well, if we're going to continue with 2, I think it could help Tell having a partner with him up there as well, if we do that. So I think it could be an interesting thing to keep this way of playing, because I think it could help all our strikers.
Yeah, agreed. And the last of the starting 11 was Randall Kolo Muani, who I gave a 9 to.
Yeah, I gave a 9. 2 goals and assist.
Yeah, 2 goals and an assist at his parent club, which was fantastic. It seemed like he had a bit of a point to prove on the pitch yesterday, to be honest. The guy was just non-stop running. Literally, he ran his socks off throughout the game, put so much effort and desire, work rate, and quality to match it too. The 2 goals that he scored were high quality, particularly the second one. The way he was able to get past his defender and slot it in and provide such a brilliant finish. The cross for Richarlison. I mean, there was such quality moments in there from Randall Kolo Muani, and he didn't let those PSG defenders have a moment's rest.
Yeah, and the volley from the corner as well. It's got steer on target. It doesn't have long to think about it. It's quite high up the ball as well, so he's got to kind of like jump and volley it. And he did well to steer that on target and get the goal. So I thought I think this was performance where really showed everyone what Moani's all about and what he can do. I think he's shown bits of quality beforehand. Yeah. But obviously, getting to his 2 goals is going to take the weight off his shoulders, I think. Because we've seen it with strikers before, when they join a new club, the longer it takes them to get their first goal and the longer that goal drought continues. I mean, it's harsh for him to call it a drought because he's played, 4 or 5 times, and a lot of them have been cut short of injury and stuff like that.
And also, he hasn't been fully fit.
And he hasn't been fully fit. He's fractured his jaw, he's had a dead leg, he's had all these stop-start moments. So to finally get his goal and to get a brace and on such an occasion is going to do him the world of good. And it's going to, I think, hopefully now we'll start to see Moani kick on and with full of confidence. And I think everyone's been, excited, but I guess underwhelmed, not because of he's done anything bad. It's just because of the circumstances. Like, he's come here, we're now nearly in December, and he's barely played and he hasn't scored. So everyone was very excited when we first signed him, but it was kind of like obviously an underwhelming start. But hopefully now his time at Tottenham can really kick into gear after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully this can be the real start of his Spurs career now, because that was much more like it. It really was his best performance by far. And you can see, like, maybe he's getting to those physical levels now, because the amount of running that he was able to do was fantastic.
And as you say, not only did he score 2, he got an assist, but I thought his hold-up play as well was as good as it has been in a lot of the games. And and the way he took that second goal, just the confidence he had to drive at his man. And he did get a bit of luck because it got deflected off the.
You make your own luck.
But he did literally make his own luck, because Because how many times you see someone like Luis Suarez do that? He runs into a player, but he doesn't allow them to clear the ball. He'll get the ball back again before they have a chance.
Luis
to clear
Suarez made a career out of that.
Yeah, so people look at that and say it's lucky, but it's lucky in the sense that he kind of dribbles into him, but he kind of did it with a purpose. He kind of bullied his way past the defender, and it was a confident finish. And there you go. Hopefully, it wasn't just a case of him upping his game against his parent club to prove a point. I hope not, but hopefully this will be a start of things to come for him.
No, that's going to kickstart his career. The only other rating I think I did was Thomas Frank. And
I didn't rate any subs either.
Because the subs came on quite late. So I gave Frank a 7 yesterday.
I gave him a 7 as well.
Yeah. Much better from Thomas Frank. I gave him a 1 against Arsenal, and it was much deserved. But this one, he came up with a plan, threw everyone off with the formation. I mean, even when the team lineup got announced, we're looking at it and we're like, "What the hell is this formation?" Nobody could work out what it was as we were making our way to the stadium. But yeah, it was like a kind of 4-2-2-2 or a 4-2-2 diamond or whatever anyone else has called it. But yeah, it caught us all by surprise, because we're thinking, maybe he's going to go back 5, tried and tested against PSG, focus on the defensive solidity. But no, he actually focused on going at PSG and pressing high and forcing them into mistakes. And it was I think it's like, in terms of chance creation, being able to hurt the opposition, it's the best, one of the best I've seen us this season in terms of being able to create chances, and it's against high quality opposition. So we wanted to see fight. We wanted to see a bit of attacking intent. We wanted to see a team that's together, and we wanted to see some tactical flexibility, and maybe even giving some other people a go, as opposed to the players that are not working, or the players together that are not working, not individually. So I think we saw everything that we wanted to see yesterday, apart from the final result.
Yeah, and I think he was brave in his selection and with the way he set us up. I think that was kind of what we were looking at before, because before the game we predicted it was going to be a 5-3-2 and it was going to be Bentancur, Paulinho and Sarr. And we're like, is that maybe the best way to try and get a result in this game? Is that what he's going to go for? But that would have maybe been the safe thing to do. But he was brave. He put Gray in, he put Bergvall in straight up, and he put them straight into the midfield. And he said, we're going to press them high, we're going to go for them, we're going to be brave. And we saw it from minute 1, the real intent, not just it was in our pressing, in our running, but also in our passing. Crisper, more direct, more with a purpose as well. Players getting the right positions, players getting into the opposition half and looking to get on the ball and being brave, and that was really great. And obviously, it didn't ultimately pay dividends with the result, but we got 3 goals and we played very well for large parts of the game.
I think Thomas Frank coached a win yesterday.
I don't know if he coached a win.
I think he coached a win. Like you're looking, because he can't, like, it's not down to him, is it? The individual errors that Romero did and the individual errors that Sarr did.
I mean, maybe against a different side he might have coached a win, but against PSG they were just too good. That is in those 2 goals from Vitinha. You know, that's just their quality. You know what I mean? So I guess I don't know if you can say it's down to coaching, but look, I think we probably deserve something out of the game. Did he coach a win? I don't know. We probably deserve something out of the game.
Because I think it was down to individual errors why we lost that, not tactical setups and shapes and.
It was, but again, it was down to the tactics why Romero didn't have many options.
Yeah, but also Romero, just because he doesn't have an option to play out the back doesn't mean he has no options. He had options. He could have, gone long.
He could have gone long, but they were trying to play it short. I don't know. I'm not saying it wasn't a mistake. I'm just saying that
he's got enough experience to deal with that situation, Romero.
I understand that, but that mistake is born out of probably how we're building up. And that was, I'm not saying it was an issue throughout the game, but in that specific instance, it was. That was the main issue on why that mistake happened. Look, we did well. We played well. We were braver, and we probably deserve. I would say we probably deserved a draw, or at least a draw. I would say we were unlucky to lose, but at the end of the day, every time we did get back, every time we scored, we conceded very quickly.
Yeah.
Every time. So. I think it's a bit much to say he coached a win, but I think we played well.
But regardless, signs of life for Thomas Frank and the Thomas Frank era, and we live to fight another day.
Yeah, it's weird to say that after a defeat, but we needed that performance.
Yeah,
as just to show what we're capable of.
It's just positive. The team got clapped off by the fans at the end of the game, and I think that just says it all. After losing 5-3 particularly as well, so
they won't get clapped off if we lose 5-3 against Fulham.
No, they won't. No, they won't. But that is your player ratings for the 5-3 loss against PSG in the Champions League. We've got a couple of super chats to get into. Let's just get it. So Lone Ranger says, much more improved desire from our players. Shame about the defensive mistakes that cost us goals, but overall was satisfied from the improvement coming from Sunday's game against Arsenal.
Yeah, it was a drastic improvement.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. We needed a reaction, and we definitely got a reaction from Sunday.
Yeah. Nina Chow says, yesterday showed that our forward line is not the issue. The double pivot was preventing creativity. Bergvall, Gray, Paulinho, Javi and Kudus on the wings. Javi can drift sometimes. Would you like to see that team going into the game against Fulham?
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind that team at all. And I agree with his diagnosis of our problems. I think a lot of it comes down to how the fielders are asked to play and how they do play, and that's been a big problem for why we're so uncreative. And we saw yesterday, look, we had a 5-5 formation, and our strikers, which everyone's a few days ago, not everyone, but a lot of people were saying, oh, what can Frank do with these strikers? All of a sudden, both our strikers get 2 and 3 goals in a game. Mm-hmm. So, are they still not good enough to score, even though they just scored 3 goals against PSG?
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Nede says, hi lads, just got my YouTube recap and I was in the top 0.4% of your viewers watching 479 of your videos. Love the channel, love all the content. Come on, you Spurs.
How do we see who are top viewers? Can we see that?
Maybe, I'm not sure. That's what you call a We Are Tottenham TV super fan.
The top 0.4%. Jeez. So what's your expected viewership?
Trust him to ask that question.
He's basically got a 0.98 XV. Every video is a 0.98.
Yeah, does he overperform that or underperform that, or he's just on par?
He's if it's 0.98, he's underperforming. if he's only 0.4.
Yeah, but look, that is it. That is all we have from you today. Frank's press conference will be with you very, very soon, pre-Fulham, and we'll be back tomorrow to preview the Fulham game. Very much looking forward to that. But thank you everyone for joining us. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.